Here we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 275 of the Fans of Power podcast. I'm Nathan Kennedy, joined by Joe Amato and Tyler Baker. If Tyler has to get up at some point during the show, he ate blueberry bananas. You had two blueberry banana smoothies, and he may have to go and
take care of
a
business
shit
again.
He might pull what happened when Joe and I did our magazine episode, and right before we're getting ready to start, I'm like, Joe, I gotta go take a dump. And he's like, Are you serious? I'm like, yeah. So I went up and just real quick.
Well,
I was back in like
that would happen
2
here,
minutes.
You got two people going here instead of just listening to just Joe sit there and pull a scanner. Just
That's true. But on this week's episode, I guess we could, in a way, kind of call it a retrospection, but we're going to be talking about the Stactions from NECA, and some people are like, wait, what is that?
Which shocked the hell out of me. I assume people who have been into He-Man for a while, like it never would have crossed my mind that people would actually be wondering what the hell we were talking about, which just shows you how young our fan base is, or the He-Man fan base is right now. Like how much the hardcore fan base is. They're just bones lying across the world, and what
that was bound to happen. I mean, that's bound to happen eventually.
Like, I guess so. But if they knew 2000X and that tour, I mean, the Stactions came immediately when that line was canceled, so it was just so shocking that anybody wouldn't know what
But they also weren't finding their way to Walmart and Target shelves either, were they? This was
no,
mostly
strictly online.
Yeah, so
and some specialty shops.
In 2002, 2003, like people aren't.
It wasn't like all the websites were carrying the news. Like that's back when people were still going to websites for a lot of that. I guess it just
we'll get into it.
We'll get into it. Yeah,
we'll get into it. But Joe, I will pass it on to you so you can read all of the lovely people in the chat room.
First, let me apologize if I have any internet connections because it'll be bad. We have a big storm that's out there, so let's hope. Because I noticed
last week over again.
Yeah, I seen myself freeze already 2 times, so hope it ain't too bad.
But at least if anything happens on your end, it doesn't completely stop the show.
No, so I know.
We can always get you back in here.
Everybody's used to my shit anyways, but okay. We got Fedmon, DJ Tags, Johnny Cock, Zen Brown, Pride of Grayskull, Adam Gabbard. I know. I'm sorry, Nathan. Grimbot. I'm scrolling down. I think I got Zentron. Jesus, here comes the senile part of the show.
Armbar.
I was ready to say Joe Amato. Masters of the Universe fan number 1. I can't pronounce MOTU out loud. Sorry about that, but
Motu. Yeah, Motu fan 1.
Right.
I got you.
Here.
I got you.
Mr. Indie Film. Aaron Anderson actually popped up. Holy pisser. Lacey Dean's here. And Gavin the Nerd and Blue Pen. So somebody knew we got Blue Pen here. He said he got, I don't know if he said he just got Clamp Champ at Toys R Us today. That's what's cool is in Canada.
Canadian.
They still got Toys R Us.
Must be from the great up north.
Actually,
they get everything up
today
there.
Myself.
Wait, what?
Yeah, but I bought it for my nephew.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I bought Clamp Champ and Ninja on Amazon. I had a great weekend.
All right, good.
My family came in and I had nothing but time with Bryant wanting to watch He-Man cartoons, and he got to witness parts of the live-action film, and it blew his damn mind.
Oh,
well,
awesome.
But you're supposed to take videos and pictures of this and post it online.
Oh yeah,
so that the kids are into Master Universe.
If people, pat me on the ass for like, oh, look at that, isn't it awesome? No, because it's none of your damn business, and all it is because he naturally wanted to, and that's all I need to know. So. It was cool because when they came in this morning, they ignored everybody else, ran and him and his cousin ran and hugged me and both said, "Can we watch He-Man?" I swear to God, like not even a hello to my mom or anybody else that was up there. And they wanted to watch the live action film because I showed them parts that I felt were appropriate for them, like some of the action scenes and stuff like that. So, and I showed them Disappearing Dragons. It was awesome.
Speaking of your nephew.
Mm-hmm.
I ordered a case of the minifigures from Dollar Tree, so Joe will get a set.
Yeah.
I will give a set to you to give to him. I may keep a set for myself, and when those do get here, Joe and I are going to work something out where we're going to put a coded message. I'm going to blink it up on the screen real fast, so you'll have to actually watch the video and pause it and figure it out, and then you can leave a comment with the correct response, and you will win a set of miniature figures. I'll probably do a
I like
video on
that.
that too, of like unboxing them, so everyone can see the case ratios for those things. Even though someone was happy to let Joe and I know in the comments what that case ratio actually was,
Yeah.
but I'll still do a video anyway just to see what everything's like in there. But yeah, that's the plan with those guys.
Yeah, it's not too off. It's 6, 6, 4, 4, 4. So 6 for He-Man, 6 for Skeletor, 4 for the other 3. So you get your 24. At least it wasn't something like 10 and 10 and like 1, 2, 3 or
1
however
1.
thing, 1 1
Yeah.
or some nonsense. But no, yeah, this episode, like I said, we wanted to talk about the Staction line of obviously what we got. 3 of maybe our most wanted, because that's hard. Because boy, when I thought of that, I was like, God damn, there are so many characters we did not get, and that was just, it was a hard choice, but we'll get to that point. But a lot of people, like you said, didn't know about the Staction line because, yeah, when the 2000X figures came to an end, well, that was the end of the figures. We figured that was it. But of course, the Four Horsemen, along with NECA, were able to do this deal where we got, well, figures that look like they fit in with the 2000X line, but they weren't posable because NECA had the rights to do like statue type things, but not figures. But
Which is kind of stupid.
Well,
That's really dumb.
no, I mean, I know, but hell, I mean, it was a way of still giving us fans something that we didn't get in the 2000X line. But you're right, they weren't posable, but they still are badass as hell because the Horsemen definitely got to have a lot more, as I've said so many times, artistic freedom to make them look even more detailed. And I mean, they're badass. And what's cool about how the Four Horsemen did it is they made it in a way to where, I told you heat up the sockets of the arms, the waist, the head. You could still give some posability for those who did want some posability. You'd pop them off, and with some, creative, genius, whether it's with magnets or some other kind of pegs, you could have them to pose. Some people, of course, when they get even action figures, like them just in one pose themselves. So some people said, I really don't give a fuck. These look great in this pose. I don't like posing all around. But of course, I did with at least Snout Spout. I was able to get a double because I'll show you later the way I was able to make them pose. But this, to me, like I said, I'm the odd man out. Of course, vintage is my favorite line when it comes to action features. It has my heart. But when it came to this, 2000X figures, and even classics, to me, Stactions just fucking stand above all the rest. Just the detail into these are so goddamn creative. And what I love is it's not like a reusing of the same buck over and over and over. And hell, even the 2000X figures didn't do that. But when I look at something like Snout Spout from the Classics line and Staction, and you put them side by side, it's like, god damn, there's no contest in design-wise. It goes right to Staction. But for those who want posability, of course, they're pissed like, oh, I like making Spouts, posing for at least Classics. But these are amazing. I mean, we're going to be going all in detail about them. But like you said, the reason they got overlooked is, unlike the 2000X figures, which were at tons of stores, these Stactions, unless you were a hardcore fan who knew about the stuff, went to the sites, if you weren't just that casual fan who went in the stores, you wouldn't have known about them. Now, some stores, like I said, Media Play, Circuit City, some random weird stores got them. But beyond that, it was something you had to... even
Circuit City.
Yeah, even Circuit City. Like I said, Circuit City had their weird little action figure. Media Play had their little action figure section. And I guess it depends on whatever stores would do it. But random stores had them. But yeah, you weren't getting these at Toys R Us. It wasn't at something like that. It wasn't at a Walmart. You got them at random places online. So that's why you said so many people, including, I think, even one of the list, Papa Hood 69, I think he was like, Stactions. Like, he was like, what the fuck are these? Not everybody knew about
believe that. I just...
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't even know that the 2000X show and line even existed. So that's odd to me. Maybe I wouldn't have known about it either if it hadn't been for Tyler being like really excited and pumped. I don't know, because I would go down the toy aisles with him, even if I would have come across it.
I think you would have come across it at some point there, but I got to remember too. Like, I eat, sleep, and breathe this property. Like, there's no, I take time for other things as well. But this was like my bloodstream. It was just, I just don't register that people were in. And I guess I also associate that with how rabid the fan base was at that time too. Like, everybody was knee deep and detailed aspects of the mythology and everything like that. It was almost like nobody missed anything. But
I was already checked out at this point. When these came out, I remember you getting them and being excited, but I had already checked out of this line. What was I even into? Was it probably just more McFarlane? Like,
probably that. We were
Maniacs and shit?
collecting Marvel Legends at that time.
Yeah.
You know, and probably more McFarlane stuff at the time. NECA was starting to build up a little steam or something because I used to buy I like some of their Hellraiser stuff when they started doing the Hellraiser figures, which looked really damn good. But
And they had that dark take on the Wizard of Oz. That was out
yeah, the
around that time as
McFarlane,
well.
Twisted Tale of Oz. Those
There
are
you go.
some awesome looking figures. But I remember the announcement, like super pumped. I remember Clawful, I think, was the first one that they announced, like the picture, because Clawful seemed like that was a lock that we were going to get him in the line, and we never did. I think it was like Clawful, Clamp Champ, Snout Spout, and Hordak, I think, were the first wave. And Clamp Champ was lined up for a season 3 debut, and Snout Spout probably was too. And we all know Hordak was coming too. So it made sense that the ones we got initially were characters that were coming, and we just got shortchanged. But I remember being super pumped. I bought them immediately in bulk. And as I recall, I think they came out around Christmas time because I remember using my Christmas bonus to buy the sets. They would come out, and I'd give my mom the gift card because I'm like, I'm not, here, you can have that, use that, give me the cash. And so that's how I bought my Stactions for those first few years until that last wave that I still to this day can't remember how the hell I missed out. It is either money or I think I got it from Brian's Toys when Brian's Toys was pretty relevant at that time.
I bet you were trying to take any excess money that you had and trying to go out on dates with girls and impress them, and you're like, I can't get these. I got to make sure that this date with shit, who would this have been? I'm bad with the names. All those girls that you dated. This would have been
like the early 2000s or something like that. But I always would have.
Was this was this around the time? It was like that one girl when we went to that haunted house, and that other girl, like that friend of hers, was like trying to grab on to me because she was all scared, and I'm like, get off me.
Yeah, Nicole.
Yeah,
it was probably somewhere.
She was trying to touch me and shit, and I was like, she's annoying. I hate her laugh. She won't shut the fuck up. All the way in the car ride, she was just singing out of key, and it was like piercing my eardrums. And she's like trying to touch me, and I'm like, hey man, this isn't a double date. I'm just here supporting my friend and hanging out with him. You stay over there. I want nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
It's funny in hindsight looking back on it.
Yeah.
Tyler's like, oh man, this is so great. And I'm just like, oh.
I mean, believe me, if Nathan's not having a good time, he doesn't shy away from hiding it. Like, he might say anything, but his face is, I'm going to fucking hang myself. You just wait. I'll do it right now. I'll do it with dental floss. I'll do it right now.
Yeah. No, I'll just find some place in this haunted house and just do that and really make it haunted. Well,
but yeah, it would have been around that time frame. But
sorry,
but
Joe.
no, I always had money for them. I never, I never found myself like struggling for something like that. So
how much were these, by the way? 20,
I think 25? I remember
29. Something like around 29, 25 to 29.
I guess it would depend. I'm sure the comic shops probably charge
for
more
them though, and that was $50.
Yeah, I think when I was getting them at some of those at Media Play,
$20, if not more. But
yeah, I mean, I almost thought they were. I'll be honest, I thought I got a good amount of them at, for some reason, Media Play, and I remember the Media Play usually always jacked everything up. So I think when I was getting them there, they were 29. But anywhere from, like you said.
Yeah, I got all mine on, and I'm pretty sure it was Brian's Toys, and I bought them all for it. I don't remember paying that much for them, but then again, too, as good as my memory is, there are details that I forget or miss out on. But I was working at as Nathan knows, a job that I loved because it was laid back, but it didn't pay anything. But
oh my god, that place was so depressing. You would just walk in there, and it just felt so run down and shitty. And I would tell them all the time. I'd walk in there. I'm like, how can you stand to work in this place?
It was so laid back. We could get away with just bullshitting all day, and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
They were hiring cute cashiers all the time at that time too. So it was like you flirt with pretty girls and take your time and bullshit and not get paid much. But hey, I was still living at home at the time too. So
yeah, pour one out for Wade's Supermarket.
Yeah,
they're all gone now.
Yeah, it's gone the way of the dodo.
Never heard of
it. I know you haven't.
Well, you wouldn't anyway.
You wouldn't have anyway.
It was just a locally family-owned thing where they had that one store that Tyler had worked out and then expanded to a couple other locations that stuck around for a while, and then
Mhm.
gradually they started to close because here's a Walmart here, there's a Walmart, now there's a Target, now there's a Kroger that's close by, and just better options, better prices. That's how it works with all that stuff. But yeah, that place was depressing.
I can tell Joe's trying to hurry the hell out of this conversation. Like, oh my God.
No, because you're
my
giving me
nuts are on fire. I
flashbacks.
cannot fucking talk about old mom and pop grocery stores.
No, I'm getting flashbacks of the place I worked when you were talking about depressing places, because I had that place that
I mean, I get why people said it, why he said it, but it was the first actual job I had, and it wasn't up to date or anything like that. But it was nothing but a good time all the time in that place. He didn't get paid dick, but we stayed clocked in and just bullshit in the back with the managers, and they all knew it and didn't care.
I even filled out an application.
Nathan came this close to working with me. Like it was unbelievable to have Nathan working with me with Matt and Jordan. It had been like the formation of the clique.
It would have been chaos. Holy shit!
Yeah.
It's probably best that I didn't, because it's hard to tell at that time. At that time, how I was personality wise, what I would have done in that store for a laugh or whatever, it would have.
And you would have gotten away with it though. There was shit in
probably.
that store. Me and Matt and Jordan would talk about, like, oh my God, like, I mean, we weren't stealing money or anything like that, but just when you're just carrying on to like they used to wrestle and fight in the back room. They'd fight on the aisle. I remember
had a fight club. Had their own fight club.
And I had to break them up during one fight on aisle 2 where all the canned vegetables are at, and Matt took off and went home, and I had to give Jordan a ride home.
Was this during store hours?
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Clean up on aisle 2, 3, 4.
The customers weren't just kind of like
this
piling
was like
around in a circle.
Like around 2:00 in the afternoon. There wasn't that many people in there at that moment, and they were just going at it. But I tell them to this day, because they used to bicker all the time because they were brothers. And one particular incident, they were arguing about working at the same drive-in over a girl. Like Matt was working there and didn't want Jordan coming there and mooching in on this really cute brunette that he had a thing for. So they were arguing in the back room. I'm sitting underneath the bunker just watching the two of them go at it, not saying anything. And I'm like, I'm going to entertain myself here. So when they finally cleared it up, I said one remark. And then they got up and running again and started arguing even more and cussing each other. I'm like, oh my God, this is great. And I'm like, it's pretty much all my fault.
Do you remember what you said? Do you remember what you said?
It was a very innocent question about, I think, Jordan, not specifically, but I played it up as if I was asking a very genuine, innocent question about Jordan working at the drive-in. And then when Jordan answered it, they got up and they started going at it again. It was just three of us in the back room, them arguing with each other. And I'm just sitting there like I am right now, hiding my smile, but I'm like, oh my God, we're on the clock and I'm enjoying the hell out of them arguing with each other.
It's terrible.
You know what you should do, because they live together now, right? You should send them a link to this and be like, hey, start it right here, so it'll bring that up again, and then they'll just fight in their house.
They're more mellow now, but God, it was. And I've told them, I said I antagonized you guys about that, like they know I did it.
Nathan's the constant instigator on something. And quickly, because you were talking about prices, Tyler, and as I'm watching the slideshow going with all these Stactions that everybody's seeing, the Sorceress had, remember, a variant, but there was the one based off of the colors of NYP, the other off Filmation. I think I actually bought an extra Sorceress I never opened, and it might be in the closet next to me. I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna find it. There might be a price tag. So you guys continue, but I think I got it.
I didn't buy any in stores. In fact, I never recall because used to have the same goodie. There was the same goodie in Whitful, right? I figured they would have sold those, but we never saw them there. I only saw them out in the wild once at a convention me and Nathan went to, and that's how I got squeezed over here. But everything was bought online.
Yeah, and guys, if you're looking to get into these now, don't go on eBay and start looking these up. It will make your wallet cry. I actually won a lot. Let's see, which way do I need to move? Maybe that way. On the bottom shelf back here is where I have my Stactions. Unfortunately, the He-Man and the Battle Armor He-Man that came in the mail, the way the guy had packaged it and the way that these things are, like pieces of the hair broke off. So that was a bummer, but I got Mantana, Hordak, Snout Spout, Clamp Champ, Leech, Clawful, Stinkor, and Grizzlor. That's who all I have, plus the He-Man and Battle Armor He-Man. So I got like a decent chunk of these, but
Yeah,
I won it at auction on eBay, and I think I paid $200
that's what
for
I
the
thought you were
lot.
saying.
But yeah, if you guys are trying to go on eBay now for buy it now prices for these things, best of luck to you. I wouldn't recommend it. I would just hold out. Hope maybe you go to a convention and someone's selling them for cheap, or you go to a flea market and maybe someone's got them. But yeah, don't jump into this line. Like, they look great, but now's not a time to just. I
I'd
want to
say
collect these now.
get your fix and look up the wall or the card art that Emiliano did for the line, because he did card art for all the characters. Like all the front and back card art was all done by him, even for the unreleased Cobra Con Faker 2-pack. He did this, beautiful artwork for everybody that was released in the line, from Jitsu, Rio Blast, Evelyn, the Sorcerer's Clawful, Clamp Champ, Tongue Lasher. He did all those. So if you need to get a fix somehow, treat yourself to do a quick Google search and look up that beautiful, just bright, detailed card art that he did for that line. It was a really fun line, and it was sad when it came to an end. I'm not sure what the reason was behind it. If it was just wasn't making money.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that from Joe? Just very faint in the background. You hear "fucker."
probably his dad's like, "What do we do with this hooker in here?" Fucker.
Wait.
I don't care. Just put a sock in her mouth.
Wait. Hang on. See if we can hear more Joe in the background. Did you hear that? Fuck. Yeah. He probably dropped it and then just disintegrated in its package or something.
Yeah.
Papa Huds did ask, does the Staction Stinkor have his stench?
No,
he does not.
No, it did not. And in fact, none of them had anything that would be close to an action feature. It was pretty much what you got or what you saw.
Grizzlor's got the fuzzy hair, so you can see.
But it was beautiful though. All of them. There was not a single bad figure in the line, or one that I don't give anybody. No one has a case like they can't say there was one bad figure in that wave. Not a single one.
There's not. I guess if you were to say something, I guess someone could be with Mantana and Mosquito, but the 2000X line was skinny. Yeah, I did too.
Gave them. And plus, it was awesome that they made Snout Spout look like such a badass. I was like, okay, now all you assholes who like to shit all over Snout Spout, you guys ain't got a fucking prayer to have
for an example
to say about Snout Spout. It was just, I love that was one of the first ones they announced.
What? That's what I want to show. Let me show. Hold on. What the fuck? Where am I at?
Show. Let me show.
Yeah, we heard you in the background being like, fuck.
Wait, I'm sitting there losing shit. I thought I just had. Oh, never mind. I found it. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. For those who want to talk about if Snout Spout could look dorky. Okay. First, here's Classics, which absolutely nothing wrong with it. Still a badass figure, but holy fucking balls. Look at the detail in the Snout Spout.
His eyes, to me, are one of my favorite points of that figure was the eyes. The eyes were like, I'm ready to beat the shit out of you.
Yeah, that's and the side by side, it's like, and this is where I'll show you real quick is, like I said, Snout Spout has always been one of my favorite characters, anyways. But so I bought an extra one, and like I said, you can't pose them, but the Horsemen were clever enough, and like I said, the head now. I got it to where the head is posable, the waist is posable, the arms can now go. Wait, if I don't break shit, can go up and down. So you could pose the arms up and down. See, the head is all with magnets now. That's what I did, and it made it real easy for it to just stick, pop on and off. But these things, yeah, they're incredible though, and it's a testament to the Horsemen and their ability to make it to where these things cleverly popping off. It wasn't a way to where if you heated it and it'd rip the shit. They literally would pop everything right off. And then just with connecting, bam, you got yourself a posable one. But I never heard anybody, I thought I heard a tail end of what you both were saying, but I never heard anybody complain about any of these stacks. Because
there was nothing but praise for everybody that was announced. Yeah. That was back when I was reading the He-Man.org forums regularly, just wanted to hear what people had to say, and I was nothing but praise all the time for the artwork on the card. I was telling Nathan about, because we were saying or Nathan was saying that don't bother going on eBay looking up how expensive these things are, because it's unless you've got a shitload of money. And Emiliano
did the art, right? Emiliano did the art for
all of them.
Yeah. It's fucking
It's all
incredible.
him.
And that's what I liked. It wasn't like an homage to anything. It was brand new art, and it was
Yep.
fucking incredible. And the thing is, what I always remembered about when they would show any of these Stactions, unlike, you know, how it seems like when classics, when we're always waiting for the reveal, like, oh, what are we going to get? What are we going to get? And we see it, I was like, it was kind of okay. Or some people are like, but some people went nuts. Every time they showed one of these, like, what the fuck? I mean, like, right now I'm looking, of course, Snout Spout is on the screen, but then Hordak and Mantenna, and when they showed Mosquito, all these, like, Jesus Christ, would you look at this? It's insane. It's like, what were they going to do with Leech? And then we seen that. And like you said, when we seen Clawful, look where I'm looking at him right now, massive. I mean, holy fuck, none of them were a miss. The thing that was the biggest pisser, though, unfortunately, is Nathan does have on the slideshow, is showing the Faker and Cobra Khan 2-pack.
Yeah.
Never got released.
Nope.
Never got released. And because if I'm not mistaken, the Cobra Khan that was made by Mattel, that wasn't the Four Horsemen, was it? Did they do that or no?
All the Satan figures outside of Fisto were done by which I don't know if I would want to hear that story because it probably just pissed me off, but it never was explained why those 3 figures were given to somebody else, and the Horsemen did Fisto, and I think they did Zodak, which were the only original characters in the Snake Man
when
line.
you look,
because
when you look at this, because you could tell. I mean, it shows mostly with Cobra Khan and King Hiss, especially King Hiss. It just looks
Rattle looked probably the least offensive of the 3. I will agree with you on that one there, but they look very cheap. They look very cartoony, not in a positive way. They just look like they did. I mean, I bought them, but we couldn't get them in stores here. We had to buy them from some online dealer, because they weren't being sold around here at that time. I think Joe had said they were being sold at like some discount outlet or something.
Yeah, Aldi.
Yeah,
like I remember.
Grocery store.
Yes, check this out, man. This freaked me the fuck out. I can't remember if it was on He-Man.org or wherever. Somebody said, guys, check your Aldi ad on Sunday paper. They said they're advertising about that last wave. I was like, get the fuck out of here. And I looked at my Aldi's ad. I was like, holy shit. And I would never look at Aldi's because I was like, I don't go there. I was like, it's just
kind of ironic, isn't it?
Isn't it me? The guy that goes the cheapest shit in the world. But I was like, what the fuck? So I told my dad, I was like, Dad, I got to go to work tomorrow. It's like, and I know that those things, if they're saying they're supposed to be out tomorrow, I was like, could you go? I was like, and then when I get home from lunch, maybe, I'll see if you got him. He was like, I'll go for you, Joe. So I went to work, and at work, all that half day, I'm going nuts, like, oh, fuck. Because I lived literally across the street from where I worked. That's how close it was. I'd be at home and work in 30 seconds. Lunchtime came, I ran across the street, big-ass bag sitting right there in the kitchen.
Well, wouldn't that suck? If you were like sick or something, your boss could just walk right over to your house and be like, you ain't sick. Come on,
well,
get
you
your
know what
ass in
sucks?
here.
That's the thing. I could never be sick because they knew they took it. Well, that's a whole nother story. They took advantage of me, and I never was sick. I was there every fucking day. But if there was snow days, everybody else was calling off, Joe had to be there.
Yeah, you had to go because what
I couldn't
excuse
say,
do
hey,
you
my
have?
my car don't start. Oh, hey, I can't open the door to my house. I can't get the fuck out. So I'm stuck.
I can see you doing that.
I got a bad snowdrift. But anyways, he did go there, and then he told me the story. He sat there, and I told him, I said, Dad, any new figure. I said, I don't even care if it's variants. I said, could you just get everything for me? He said, sure. So he's taking them off the rack, stacking this giant pile, and this woman came up, and she
stacking the Stactions.
Stacking the action figures. But yeah, so started stacking them all up, and she went to reach for him. He's like, no. He said, those are mine. He's like, you go look over there right there on that shelf. So he got all that last line of all them action figures of this, like you said, the Snake Man wave and everything. So all these did have them. It shocked the hell out of me. And yep, that's where I got them.
Do you know how much they were at Aldi's? They had to be discounted,
back
right?
then. No, they were the same price of what, $7.99 or whatever the hell the price was of those figures at that time. Might have been $7.99 or $8.99. Yeah, they weren't a lot.
We would get an Aldi's for.
We didn't get one until like 2 years ago.
Yeah, so it just wouldn't have worked. Even Roanoke didn't even have one at the time, and that's the city that has everything, at least for us at this point. But there was no way we would have been. And I remember seeing that on He-Man.org, but I didn't know what that meant. Like Aldi's, like what the hell is that?
To be honest, like I said, I mean, it shocked me because I never went there. I mean, I've always gone to cheap dollar stores, but Aldi's, believe it or not, sometimes have some things that are a little expensive. But what amazed me is when I went there. Well, for me, expensive. You know me, I'm cheap as shit.
I know, but I've shopped there. I'm like.
Well, hey, you want to hear how cheap it is?
Joe.
I went in there. I wasn't really impressed with it. I was like, this is it? This is the shit everybody talks up? I'm like,
You got cheap milk, like 89. Sometimes you get milk 89 cents a gallon. They had real good deals on eggs, too. But here's the thing. Here's the shitter of it all.
Expire.
I'd have to bring my own bag because they would charge
Manager
you for
special.
No, they would charge you to buy bags. I was like, what do you mean charge? I'm used to stores where you just...
I carry all the shitload of flatbread I buy. I'm not buying your bullshit bags.
Right, and the other thing is, I ain't getting any of their shopping carts. You have to use a quarter to activate a shopping cart.
I'm not doing that either.
I mean, I get that because people are savages and they'll just destroy anything.
No, and I'm with you on that one too. But I'm like, I don't need.
I
just carry the shit.
Yeah. Exactly, I did. Yeah, I just carried the. Oops, I kicked something. I carried the stuff as well. So, so all these adventures was cool, and thank you for joining us.
That hooker in the floor.
But Tyler, I did want to show you, and I feel like a dickhead now. I thought I bought this one at the store. No, this was the. I can't even remember. Isn't that what's crazy? What the fuck is AFX exclusive? I don't even remember that website, but I got it.
Oh yes, I remember that store. Yeah, I used to buy. I remember they were expensive as hell too. I used to buy some vintage stuff from them though. Back when there was like nothing.
I mean,
but
you know,
do they
Joe,
exist
toys.
anymore? It's been so long since I ordered this. I couldn't remember.
I stopped buying from them because they were so damn expensive. But I used to have their catalogs.
Yeah, look at that beautiful art, Emiliano's art. Look at that shit, isn't that?
I mean,
incredible.
You know, that's an extra one. You know, I don't have that one, Joe. And
oh no, you won't want this. No, I wonder what this runs for. Go to eBay. AFX exclusive sources.
Like, just give me half of that.
You know, I mean, how about Joe as a consolation? You can send me that Power and Honor book that you've been meaning to send me for the last year and a half now.
Oh shit! I'm gonna send.
They're making great coasters right now, Nathan. I don't know if he's going to give that out.
Yeah.
You know, they were free after all.
So let's see. Hold that one up again, Joe. Because
the AFX exclusive, and it's the Filmation color sorceress. But it's remember, just type in AFX exclusive sorceress. Staction or whatever.
Did you get the King Randor Staction that was the San Diego exclusive too?
Yeah, they're both back here.
I got that one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there is one on here right now that is Lucy for $80. Buy it now with $10 shipping. 16 watchers. So if anyone wants to jump on that, we got the other version here. We have the mint on card. Sorry. For $125 or best offer with $18 shipping. And then someone else has got one for $400. But hey, you get free shipping on that.
Is that this one here, the Filmation sealed one or something, or what? Filmation?
No. The one that you showed on there is, well, I don't know.
I don't know, maybe they don't have it sealed.
I mean, it's probably roughly going to be the same price anyway. But the thing about it, too, when you go to look these up, there's not too many listings.
No.
They're very few and far between.
You know why?
Like you'll
and I'll tell you why. The majority, I'll tell you, and this is the God's honest truth. Most people that bought Staction are the hardcore fans because they're the ones that knew about them. They are not getting rid of them. This was not a casual fan going, yeah, exactly. They didn't casually walk into fucking Walmart and Toys R Us and buy them and say, I'm going to resell them later. No, they're staying in people's collections.
It was a different time back then. People were really about collecting He-Man and not being, Nazi scalper assholes, just trying to bullshit profit and take advantage of someone who may have had hard times or doesn't have enough to get it or whatever. So
back when the pegs were full.
Mm-hmm. And it was like, hey, we came up short at Walmart. Let's try Target. We came short up at Target. Let's try Kmart.
Or I'll go into Circuit City on Black Friday and pick up Doom 3 on Xbox and just fucking toss it back in the bin.
And walk out and scream, fuck! Out in the parking lot. And some guy turns and looks, and we start singing Shelton Benjamin's theme song on our way back to the car.
Yeah. That was a long walk. That was a long walk, too. That was a long walk.
But hey, given how busy it was, we were better off just walking everywhere.
Yeah, because we walked from the Target Best Buy Plaza all the way over past the mall to the
we walked. City. Yeah, we did. We hit Circuit City. We checked out the mall. We walked over to Best Buy and Target, and then we drove an hour back home just to spend all of our money there.
Yeah.
I just checked. Shockingly, I just looked to see if any of those AFX ones sold recently. Just about like 100 to 124. So surprisingly, that one isn't like a gigantic price. And you think since that was an exclusive, it would have been. I mean, it would have been, especially when you're comparing to goddamn Mosquito and Web Store and some of the other fuckers.
To me, those like I find it because I guess it's because the Egyptian look at the sorceress is kind of like it's okay, but when I think
it was a hit and miss for some people. Yeah.
I mean, it's not horrible. I'm not going to say it's horrible, but compared to the others in the Staction line, I feel like those justify a much more higher price point than the Sorceress does.
And they have
Like,
such a bigger upgrade, because you're right, Sorceress,
Yeah.
as beautiful as she is, it's still basic. Okay, it's Sorceress. How much change did she get? But fucking,
Yeah.
we did not have Mosquito, or we never had him in that cartoon, and some bitch, they made him look nuts, and especially then we got Web Store. Of course, we had him in the cartoon, but he looked great. I just liked the shit that we didn't see. It seemed like they went bananas with. But I could say with all of them, they looked amazing. But yeah, like you said, with Mosquito, he has the blood tanks on it. I like the
God,
kind of
that was
skinniness to it.
such a brilliant take on the Horseman. Like, I would love to thank
Yeah.
them in person for some of those
Yeah.
upgrades or those design, like the Jitsu Mosquito. I mean, it was because it was something none of us were acquainted with. At least most everybody. Clamp Champ. I loved all the pressure tubes from his backpack to his clamps. Like, fucking badass, man. It just
And
looked
the
like
wings.
this guy.
I like the wings for Mosquito too, along with the blood tanks.
Yeah.
They just, I mean, fucking, even somebody like Grizzlord, like, okay, we seen, like, how he looked in the cartoon. But as the Staction, it's like he came loaded with weapons. Like, he was just a fucking beast of an assassin. I was like, damn, how many weapons did Grizzlord have? And, I'm pissed now because I have all these card backs downstairs. I wish I would have had them just to show the art for every one for Emiliano, because, damn, they're keepers. You see, unlike...
Go get them, Joe. You've already gotten up and gotten that. Just go get all those card backs. Just do it. There we go. Attaboy.
Yeah.
Attaboy. I can't wait to hear more. Just like, fuck. God damn it. Just very very faint. People would have to have their headphones in to be able to hear.
Hell, I'll grab my Squeeze because that's the only one I have right now. All the rest of them are in storage. But my Squeeze is still mint in box. I've never took it out.
Well,
so for those who are not familiar with it, this is Squeezed.
Well, and I have pictures of all of them.
Okay,
flashing on the screen as we go through.
Here's the card art, just a sample of Emiliana's beautiful art. That's how Squeeze looked on the back there.
So what made you decide to keep that in box?
I have no idea. I think just because I wasn't displaying the Stactions at the time, and Squeeze is my favorite Snake Man, I just thought, you know what? I'll just leave this in box and just put them on the wall.
That's smart. That's smart.
Yeah. So, and I'll just keep it like that because I'm honestly content keeping him in the box. This wave had Rio Blast, Evelyn. It was just a 3 in this one. So, but yeah, this was a very exciting day because he was because I didn't get Rio Blast either. I think I got Evelyn though, and they did 2 Evelyns. They did like the vintage color scheme of Evelyn, and then the MYP version there. But
now
that was a fun time when those Stactions came out. It really was.
Did that bother you at all that there were just a couple of the variants like we had with Sorceress, like you have with Evelyn, and having He-Man and Battle Armor? Even though Battle Armor I think is my favorite variant.
I wanted both those He-Mans because they looked more vintage-like.
Yeah.
It wasn't the 2000X, and I never got an opportunity to have either one of those. So but I thought they were justified variants because they looked damn great. Evelyn's, I like the vintage look because she looked stunning, like that bright yellow with the blue. Oh, it was just beautiful. I liked it better than MYP. So I thought they were justified variants. I didn't because I think a lot of times that shit's cheap, but those they made more sense because they were vintage throwbacks. They weren't just a Snake Hunter He-Man bullshit or something like that. I'm like, oh man, I ain't.
Which they could have easily have done.
They could have, but thankfully the Horsemen have integrity and respect for the property, unlike how Mattel likes to just piss and shit all over it and say it's for kids and charge $30 a figure.
Is it lame because you had mentioned earlier that you were gonna get, or you did get Clamp Champ on Amazon? Even though the action feature on it is way different, I had thought about getting one just to have the accessory to put with my vintage, just because it is so expensive to get on eBay.
I'm disappointed because when I actually took time to describe Clamp Champ to my nephew, because I was like, because he was wanting to know. I was wearing my Fisto Jitsu tank top, and he's asking questions about it. Asked me if he wanted some more, and I described Clamp Champ and Triclops to him, and he's like, "I want Clamp Champ," because I told him what his weapon did. Of course, this one doesn't have the action feature, just But just describing that to him, like, well, I think he'll like the visual look of Clamp Champ. This big tough guy with a power pincer, and giving him Ninja. And I'll explain to him, hey, these guys are rivals, But I think he'll get a big kick out of it. It does suck that action feature doesn't work.
Yeah.
But at this point, I'm like, it's more about he's genuinely into it, asking questions, wanting to reenact stuff. So I'm, I didn't have Clam Champ or Ninja as a kid, so I'm like, you know what, I can't give him everything I would prefer, but this is about as close as I'm going to get to, but making that fire that much bigger. But yeah,
But
and
which I mean, that's I know that we've given the Origins line so much shit over the
mainly
past
me.
few.
I think you guys have been a lot more generous than I have been.
But I think this is the prime example of one of the better things to come out of this line. Even though you don't like it, you found there's still a way that you can buy this to give,
Yeah.
not break the bank. So
and I mean,
there's always
they
a plus.
They weren't. I mean, they were about like Clam Champ. I think was 27
20,
on Amazon.
Yeah. Because I actually looked it up the other day. I'm like, just curious to see what's on there. I'm like, oh, okay, they actually have a decent amount of figures on here. Like you can get the land
stock too. I actually came this close to getting Scareglow, but I saw Ninja. They had one left, so I was like, that's the one I got to get.
Yeah.
They have Randman was on there, and Big Bad. They're getting ready to up because I was just looking all over the place, and their prices were a bit cheaper. But you throw in the $4 shipping, you're not too far off from Amazon. But
that was a wasted trip. I want to apologize because it's in a tote. But I did see one thing I got a kick out of. It was sitting right in front of the tote. I'd have to move too much shit, so I'll do it another time. But these crazy ass things. I remember we're at Ollie's, and online they were trying to sell them for $10 each, and only $1.29, and they were supposed to.
What the fuck is that?
These figures? They were like toilet paper tubes that you can make bullshit figures out of.
Yeah, you could make a He-Man out of like this cardboard setup. They had Beastman and Tila in the works. That
looks like on the back like two dicks about to touch each other.
All right, check them out. But they did have only He-Man and Skeletor.
Art on there too.
Yeah, God. Tila and Beastman. You can find a template online for them. But I remember I just got the box and I was giving some to family. Hey, if anybody wants a shitty paper of He-Man, or
why don't you build one live right now on the show? He can still talk about stuff, but he can work on that as we're going along, and then he can show us the finished result because I want to see what this piece of garbage looks like.
It looks like an Easter egg kit.
Yeah, it's stupid.
The one I already did. I already did one of these. Wait.
Well, open another one.
Hold on.
I got a completed one right over here. Ha ha ha! I don't even have to build one.
I got a completed one right over here.
Can you believe that? There's no way in hell.
He did that shit on purpose. That's why he was gone so long. He built one. It's like, they're gonna egg me on to build one live on the show. Check this shit out.
Hey, look at this though. It has wait, no, does it? I was ready to pose it, but I think it'd rip. I thought it had posability. It doesn't have posability. My bad. That would have ripped right there live.
Pretty lackluster.
I see that as like, all right, a dumb little bullshit project to make your little crotch goblin do to pass 20 minutes worth of time.
Yeah, like I said,
that's licensed. I just find like that's so insulting to the fan base. It's just junk. It's garbage though. Like I know Joe had fun doing it, but in the grand scheme of things, that's what I have such a problem with now. It's just like all this like little trinket bullshit. Like there's nothing that's got any guts or balls to it. It's just like, oh, look at this little PVC trinket bullshit.
They were like you said, they were doing a lot of weird stuff at one time. Remember, we didn't even get, what were those one things called? Not Dorbs. Was it Dorbs? Remember the weird thing that they made?
I remember those two.
With the round heads and they're like
wait a second,
wait, but they're not pops.
I might be screwing that up.
They're like smiling, it was just lame trinket bullshit, man. Like, yes, I know there are people out there who they nut all over the place when they get the little trinket stuff, but I just find like, oh, come on, guys, don't you want something that's a little bit, get some more bang for your buck that's got muscles and looks like a badass, not the little cute cherub shit. Like,
and they make a lot of those goofy things.
Do it with everything else. Leave He-Man alone.
I'm going nuts though because you're right. There's
the opinion there.
There is but I can't think of the other weird one that didn't get released. That they were like, they look like a tube. They're flat on the top, flat on the bottom. They had showed an Orko, a Dr. Wily from Mega Man. It was the goofiest thing, and it didn't take off. Remember, they never made them, but they showed images. Oh, it's gonna rack my.
But I checked out when I saw this stuff because I wasn't buying it anyway.
Yeah, like there's a market for that. That's why all that shit exists, to just a little tiny, like that makes sense in regards to you can have craft time with your kids. So that works, but I would never buy that. That's not something I was like, oh, holy shit, this is no, like, no.
Hey,
You
Johnny,
better
Cox,
off
Go
I'll
home
just.
with
send
you
you
and
one
your
of
dad
these
working
with.
together on putting that together, Nathan.
I'm gonna
As a
send one of these to
kid,
Johnny Cock with
probably
his book.
not.
Because Johnny Cock, I still didn't get you that book. Sorry about that. It's coming, and I'll send you one of these with it. I promise. Nathan,
How
don't
long
do it.
ago
Don't.
did we do that giveaway? And you still haven't given him his book? Holy shit, Joe.
We can't do contests. We can't do Jeopardy on
Yeah.
this podcast.
No,
Like
no
Joe,
more.
Joe's
You know
getting
what?
we've
No
lost
more
all credibility.
contests.
No,
No
I'm
more
sending.
contests on this show until I get my fucking book.
I'm sending
that?
everything this week. I promise. I'm getting out and
You
everything.
said
all
that
good.
last week and the week
But-
before
But
and
I
the
mean
week
it
before
this week.
that.
This week,
All these-
I mean it though.
All these empty promises.
What
You're like-
you should find insulting because he said this time he means it, which means all those other times he clearly was bullshitting, and he's admitting that he didn't give a shit about you.
You're just like the drunk dad that says he's gonna go and get a pack of cigarettes and never comes home.
Oh, that's terrible. Now that sounds terrible.
Happy Father's Day, by the way, to all the dads out there.
Well, back to Stations. Beyond all the awesome shit we got, like I said, there's many we didn't. And if I were to pick three, and this is tough as hell because I'm thinking of all the stuff we never got, and that includes, figures based off of Saurod, Blade, and Gwildor as well. I still wanted a Ninjor just because you'd think he's plain, but God, I can only picture how fucking cool the poses.
There's nothing plain about Ninjor. Do not say anything vanilla about
Well,
Ninjor.
that's going to pop into somebody's head. It's a ninja. What
I
can he
don't
do?
give a shit. Then they can leave it in the comments and act like they're just, they could be they're a casual fan then. If you go so far as to leave a comment anywhere that I can read it, and you say the Ninjor is just plain, you're a very generic, mainstream, casual fan, and I don't give a shit if that offends you, man. Because that is exactly what you are. So go ahead and out yourself and say you don't like the live action because Battle Cat Orca weren't in there too. Just go ahead and just say, make your name Casual He-Man Fan. That is your YouTube name if you leave a comment. Much appreciated.
Well, he's one of my picks because I can picture if they gave weapons to other characters I never expected, I can only imagine the arsenal, but the badass looking pose, the sculpt. So Ninjor's one of my picks. And yes, I am going to say Modulok just because I couldn't even imagine the freaky combination of whatever the hell they would have came up with. Obviously, it's not going to be snapping together, but whatever monstrosity they would have sculpted would have been absolutely fucking mind-blowing. And then I had a toss-up between... I was thinking of Scareglow, which would be cool, but then I was like, God damn, if they did Rotar or Twistoid, what kind of crazy shit would they added to him? What would the base look like? I always said I envision a base like being this swirling thing of wind or some insanity, but I think I'd go with Rotar. Yeah, I'm going with Rotar. So mine would be Ninjor, Modulok, and Rotar. If I could get 3 more Stactions, I'd love to see those fuckers, if we could have got more.
My knee just popped. That actually really hurt.
Well, that was random.
Sorry. Ow. All right, Tyler. Do you want to give your 3 or you want me to go?
I'll go. Ninjor and Modulok were on my list as well, but
okay.
But obviously the characters that for my 3, I'm not going to take those because Joe's already said them because that's were my initial ones. But I think King Hiss. Because I do like the design of King Hiss in 2000X to have the Horseman take a shot at that.
Yeah, their vision. Yeah.
A+++. I really think. They don't get enough respect, and I think. Obviously they did a phenomenal job in the Classics line, but one of the Rock Warriors. Are you sick?
Oh
Joe?
God,
you need some soup?
No, he's doing that because he doesn't even want people to see the side of his face anymore.
Well, we've already seen it
you're right
on the podcast already.
This was just so, I don't know, it's bland, especially when he.
Very generic. It's very lackluster.
Oh, look,
Now,
and yeah,
well,
Nick underneath
you would
is very pissant too.
yeah. Look,
I think
this
I would
is what
have
was the
King
worst.
Hiss
Oh my
mid-transformation or something would be kind of nice.
Tyler, I have not looked at this in years. Let me get this shit off so I can show everybody. This is the main part that got it. The outside, you could almost say, you know what, kind of okay, not too bad. But
it looks
when
too
you
cartoony though. When you had that very detailed grimace look on Fisto,
this is what killed it.
There's no comparison in the quality.
Look at that goofy. Oh my God! And this the head. What the fuck kind of posability is that? This is how the head poses up and I don't even get it. This was bad. And look at the back. It's not even, look, they didn't even take no kind of detail of a snake. It's just a
See, what's so
flat.
messed up about that too is that Mattel had their fingers all over season 2. Like, get the Snake Men in, get the Snake Men, and then they give us 3 shitty Snake Men in the toy line. So I don't know where their focus was at. Obviously, it was more about getting the Spitball and other shitty, product placements in season 2, as opposed to releasing quality figures of these characters that didn't need any, let me get my fingers all over this. Like Edward Scissorhands when he's rubbing Kevin's face.
So I can see why you said a King Hiss, because I would have loved to seen something a lot better than,
that deserves so much better. So so Stone Dar, King Hiss, and I kind of think more along the lines of like the chances of us getting Blade and Sorrel were pretty much slim and none. And I'd probably lean more towards none because they'd have to show up in the 2000X line. So I are more likely candidates. So I probably would have had to have gone with Spikor, because I think we all can agree Spikor was, they did do a design of Spikor, and I think everyone can agree it was awesome. And if it doesn't, if you didn't think it was awesome, then you're a very generic casual fan, and you like all
I
the
think
modern
that's one
bullshit.
of the first custom Stactions I seen somebody do a 3D print of was a Spikor. It looked pretty badass, because I think I
saw that too, and it looked very, very good. I mean, obviously, there's so many we could have nailed. Like, I think Ratlore and Cobra Khan clearly needed, and we were going to get Cobra Khan. But those would be my 3, because I think the Rock Warriors, they look so good and classic. So I can't imagine what they would have come up with either Stone Dar or Rock Khan. So those are my 3.
Okay.
I'm going to go in a little bit of a different direction. Spikor was on my list because I think just having all the spikes there, the way you could make that figure look would be incredibly impressive. I think Shadow Weaver would look pretty badass, especially if you could have have some clouds or some smoke sort of forming around, or make something that would add to the aspect of about like you're about to cast a spell. And then finally, just because I looked, it could go either way with how Tongue Lasher and Leech are like sort of bigger and hulking, or if you went in the direction of Mosquito, but I think Dial-A-Mug would look really badass.
Pretty cool.
I love that.
I mean,
no, it's great. I love it. I think it's awesome that you did that.
No. Well, I was gonna say, like, based off of how these are and how 2000X was, with a lot of the mechanical and the computerized-esque kind of makeovers some of these characters got, Dial-A-Mug would fit in perfectly with that.
Damn right he would.
And they would have looked awesome. Now, the thing is, that's something we'd have to get now, because back then we couldn't have got a Shadow Weaver or Dial-A-Mug just because the whole Filmation thing, the rights and all that shit. But
it's just what I want, Joe. That was what I want.
No. See, I don't want people thinking I'm pissing all over Nathan.
All over Nathan's dreams there. That's when
Isn't that weird? At the same
nice
time,
soft serve dunk. Can you imagine just swirling all over Nathan's Vans?
Oh yeah.
There?
Well,
it would be like the McDonald's ice cream.
Yeah, because I said pissing, and he said pissing at the same time. But no, I just now we could get them. Back then we couldn't have. But yeah, I agree, because that's the thing is when we seen those ring wraiths, at first it was like a little excitement thinking, could that be like kind of a Shadow Weaver or something when we seen that in MYP? But I like those choices because, I doubt it's something that'll ever happen again. I don't know if it could, but I'd wish that somehow the Stactions could make some kind of return, some way, some form. With all the rights, how we keep hearing one switch into this company, back to this company, back to this, it's probably something that could never happen. But God, I wish it would, because I'd love to have more of them just on my shelf. It's like I said, it's my favorite line to look at. This is my favorite looking line. And Vintage is, of course, my favorite action figure.
Hell, I've been fine if the concept of or just revisiting the concept of Stactions alone, where you bring the Horseman back and tell them to give their interpretation of a vintage looking, Beastman, but in Staction form. Obviously, pay them. I mean, 2000X was homaging, but a different look. Because I like the Staction concept. I do, and I would pay $30-$40 a figure if we're getting the Horseman's doing it. I don't know who's in charge of doing it. I don't know if I want to be Jump for Joe Super 7 was put in charge of that, or Mattel gets their, goofy ass paws all over it again and interferes with, damn near everything. But I like the concept. I think it's worth revisiting. And you could do new adventures like that. You could do, kind of like what Classics did, an all-encompassing, lineup of Stactions where you can visit various, ideas, visual designs, concepts,
Tyler, something for you real quick, because
Origins was going to be, which clearly that's not the case. But
that's what I wanted to shoot at you, was about the Stactions. Now, like I said, even though I did show the articulation of snout spout, which is cool, I never really had a big problem with them not being posed because they're just so fucking amazing. But you've seen a lot of fans say, I don't like these because you couldn't pose them. Now, with the Stactions, do you think if they were to bring them back, hypothetically, getting all sorts of new shit, do you think it'd float with fans? Do you think they'd be pissed that they couldn't pose them? Or do you think, you know what, they look badass enough in this pose? For me, I like them as they would look.
Did too.
What do you think?
It didn't bother me as long as we were getting them and I could afford them, and they were nothing but beyond top quality. I could give two shits if I could turn their head slightly this way or slightly to the right or twist their waist. Like, no, as long as they look great and they fit right in with the rest of the figures, that's all that mattered to me. Yes, no matter what, I'm sure people like to point the finger at me. People are going to complain about it no matter what.
Yeah.
But they were more universally accepted by fans. Like, I did not see a lot more people bitching about the lack of articulation. It was like, oh my God, yes, I have to have that. Than anything, because you could not argue the quality that we got. And that's where I feel like it really comes into play here. If the Horseman or whoever's making stuff is going to deliver the quality in terms of the look, how it looks on your shelf, people can argue about the articulation, but they can't argue with what we're getting. Like, it's just, at that point, it's just Monday details. Like, I think Nathan would be into it. Our listeners would be into it.
Dude, are you kidding me? If I didn't have to take the time to think about what pose I wanted to put them in, and it's just there, and I could display them, I'd be all over that.
The poses they gave us were all great. I didn't find there was like one goofy ass looking pose. Like, they all looked like they were battle ready, or they looked very stoic in their pose. If they were not like looking like, Clamp Champ was kind of like displaying what he's got. It wasn't like I'm ready to attack you. Tongue Lasher was just kind of hulking. Hordak was standing as if like, he is an evil asshole. Like, I trust the Horseman. That was the thing with He-Man. I trust them with everything. Those guys get it, and they love to get it. I don't question anything. I would pre-order an entire lineup of figures without even seeing what they look like. If I knew the Horsemen were in charge of the visual look and who was coming, done. I will give them everything. I will not question anything. I will not say anything snide or wonder about anything. No. The Horsemen have got this. I don't have to worry because they know what the hell they're doing. And damn it, they love the property. They're not going to come in and try and reinvent it because they didn't grow up with it, or they want to do something internet-based, based on a fucking meme or GIF or whatever. They want badass. That's all the Horsemen have been about. And that's why it's so devastating that they're not doing anything in He-Man right now. I mean, they're doing Thundercats and Silverhawks, which is phenomenal. But,
Well, I'll ask you this, because Diamond Select right now has come out with PVC statues from G.I. Joe that are roughly, 10, 11 inches. I don't know how tall they are, but they look pretty great and fairly accurate to their animated counterparts. If there was something like that where the Stactions themselves have quite a bit of weight to them, they're heavy, they've made Joe's toe bleed. So if they kind of scaled back on that and maybe used something like that to make it lighter, but the paint apps were great and the molds were still great, and they were taller, would you have even more of an interest in that, or would it need to be more in scale with classics and vintage, etc.?
No. I don't need people honestly to keep going back to what we've already got. I want something that's worth I already have that. I don't need to buy it again. That's what Origin's such a bummer to me. I already own those. So I want the Horsemen to give me their take of a modern vintage style Skeletor, or a modern vintage style Merman, or a Scareglow, a Ninjor, something that we are familiar with. But like, son of a bitch, man, that would look great on my desk, or having a poster of that artwork of how he looks. That's what I want. From people who get it. Like Emiliano can do that, Axel can do that, Kevin can do that. The way they illustrate these characters, there's an edginess and the grittiness to it, but they're not taking liberties with it. The Horsemen know how to do that. That's why I trust them with my life in terms of like my passion for this property, like not really trust them on my life, but like those guys.
No, I just show up at their headquarters like,
Yeah.
all right, I got my buddy over here with a gun. He's gonna shoot me. You gotta jump in front of it because I trust
or
you
just
with
lean
my
back,
life.
trust game, and just fall back and see if they catch.
Oh yeah, do a trust fall with them.
Yeah, I just
they would let you fall and hit the ground.
I'm sure they would. Corn would just kind of look at me like, so anyway, or Eric or whoever. But I just love what those guys do because you don't ever have to question anything. If they're running it in terms of the visual design, we have nothing to worry about. We just don't.
Mythic Legions right now. They're killing it with that.
There you go. They deliver with that line. Everybody likes it. How long they've been doing that line for a long time, and people are still buying them. So it's just unfortunate. I guess their prices are too high, and Mattel doesn't want to pay them, or they want to go with their own increase. They don't have to pay them. I don't know why the hell you would not continue to use the Horsemen. They have managed to reinvent, they've done 2000X. They did Staction. They did Classics. Like, they clearly know how to evolve and keep doing something different, but familiar, to keep the fans coming back and wanting more. No, we don't want them anymore.
Now we just got a bunch of constipated-looking action figures.
Yeah, with shitty face sculpts and people who don't know how to write a decent mini comic because they just rather shame and make fun of everybody. Assholes. But Stactions, it's worth revisiting. It really is. Like, I know Joe
I thought he fell asleep for a second.
He probably did, because when I get to ranting and raving, Joe's like, I'm not talking about myself enough.
Go ahead.
He's not arguing the point.
I know he's not. It's like, Tookie Death Nuts. He's in the chat room. I didn't get to mention. Tyler won't shut the fuck up.
Real quick, Wiley Walt, no, they didn't do Cobra Khan or Faker. They were going to do.
He just is chomping at the bit to.
No, it was a weird timing. You said that.
Did
the
you
question.
Say Wiley Walt?
Yeah, he hasn't been here in a while.
Man, I haven't seen that guy pop on anything we've done.
That's why it
shocked
shocked
me. How are you, Wiley?
Yeah, it shocked me. I was like, wait a second. That's why it caught my eyes, and yeah, he had a question about that. But yeah, the Faker and.
I'm sorry, Wiley. I will shut the hell up, Joe. You catered to him there. We haven't seen him in a while.
It was supposed to be a 2-pack exclusive, and then that's when the line ended, and we didn't get them because, we would have got the Horseman's version of Cobra Khan, and you could tell that obviously they had nothing to do with probably that goddamn Faker thing that was an exclusive. It was just a repainted He-Man. I'm sure they wanted to do their version of Faker, and that would have been, but we didn't get them. So, that's why it's still part of the reel, but no, those only 2 we didn't get.
Why haven't they taken the initiative to put battle damage on Faker instead of just making it just a lazy repaint of a He-Man? Why not add more detail? I don't understand that.
The fans were more rabid about that when Classics came out because, like, why aren't you guys doing a more like Terminator, like damage face? And then sure enough, like the accessory pack with that extra head came out. But yeah, Nathan's right. Like, people. It would differentiate from, like, clearly we do know you're just doing a cheaper. I mean, that's part of the charm of the figure, but give us a little bit more bang. Like, throw in a busted eye where you have like the red pupil of the robotics underneath there, or a damaged mouth with the skull.
They could even do that with the cat. Like, could you imagine if they took one of the cats and painted it a robot?
And then steal the name from the guy who actually did it.
What a new, fresh idea! Sam Pack thought of that. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. Hold on, I got to do this again. I'm sorry.
Why?
See? So like this, man, you could have yourself a real copycat with some real damage, real cybernetic damage and shit like that. Now that's a copycat right there. But whatever. What do I know? I've only been doing this for 10 fucking years.
What do any of us know? We're just 3 grown-ass men bitching about a toy line. We just need to get over it, right? Whatever
that's right.
We just need to get over it. Not have an opinion about it unless it agrees with somebody else who's positive, right? Is that what you people want? You know what I'm talking about.
I think we kept it positive with this whole thing, with all that.
No, we did, because there's nothing to complain about. It's reminiscing about something wonderful.
I'll toss this out then. If you had to pick which Staction is the worst looking one,
there isn't one. I can't give you one because there isn't one. Tough. Like, wholeheartedly. There's not a bad one. If I had to say anything, probably only the Sorceress, mainly because her design is, it's kind of lackluster in general. Like, I never really bought the Egyptian motif because it doesn't fit with the castle anyway.
Yeah.
But she looks great though. That's strictly based on NYP's design or what Mattel signed off on. That's it. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
can't
can't.
believe Joe is.
he looks
We
like
can't
he's going
even.
to be eating some Campbell's soup right now. Like he just,
Right.
I can't think of any. Yeah, they all
is
look.
Campbell's too expensive for you, Joe? Or do you need to buy the dollar store brand?
Well, Campbell's is usually pretty cheap when you go to the
Yeah,
store.
Campbell's you can get pretty cheap unless it's the chunky. If you get the chunky, that's way more
Yeah.
expensive.
Yeah, I don't get the chunky. I don't
You
get
like
that
chunks?
other
You
new.
like chunks, Joe?
No, there's the chunky Campbell's and there's some what's that called? Progresso. Of like, who the fuck they think people are rich? So
I
yeah,
actually had a can
God,
of.
it's
I'm gonna brag about this in front of Joe right now. I actually had a can of Progresso soup last night.
Jesus
it
Christ.
was the chicken noodle. Yeah,
Aren't
no,
those
that
like-
shit is expensive though. That's
It
like
is.
$2.30 something a can.
That's way too much. Yeah.
Because I don't pay attention. Emily's the one that does grocery shopping, and she's very like, "What's on sale? I have coupons, whatever." I wouldn't say frugal, but just very like aware of trying to save
you
some
can
money.
save money. I'm all about saving money. I'm not
And-
like above that.
And I don't care really. I'm just like, oh well, what's it? But I looked at that today. I'm like, $2.38 for a fucking can of soup? Are you kidding me?
That's a lot.
I don't like soup, so to me that's I don't know what's considered cheap or not.
Give me some good chicken noodle soup on a cold day.
It's
but
just
Joe,
hot
when
water with chunks small bits of food in it.
Sir. No,
I've
it's not.
only had chicken noodle a few times. I'm like, why do people eat this shit
You're not-
even when they're sick?
You're not having the right chicken noodle then. Trust me. You're probably having the Campbell's that's just like the noodles and the little sad pieces of chicken and that's it and the broth.
I think it's
and
what it was.
everything.
This is like back when we still lived
No.
in Fairlawn, and my mom
No.
like, fine,
Yeah, no.
I'll bite the bullet and have it because I'm sick. I'm like, this does nothing
No.
for me.
You-
Like
you
I
didn't-
don't.
You didn't get the right soup. But Joe, when you put that over your head now, you look like your name would be Harriet. That's
Yeah, it looked like
Harriet.
a peasant. Joe looked like a peasant woman.
Yeah.
You know, he's at the farmer's market looking for discounted bread and
Well, hell.
Hey man, there ain't nothing wrong with day old bread. As long as there's
Just
no
put it in the
mold on it,
toaster.
I'll pull a Joe right now. There's nothing wrong with day old bread.
I guess
At
there's
all.
nothing wrong with that. And milk, milk can last a week past expiration or a couple. You never know. It's just you
Hey,
gotta sniff
Coke
it.
products are not bad past the big expiration date too. You know, I work for Coke.
I disagree with that because my parents had some expired Coke that was maybe a month and a half old at one point. They still had some shit in their fridge from like last September. I'm like, guys, this is bad. And I opened one and poured it down, and it was just completely flat. And I was like, yeah. So it does. Coke, when it goes bad, really shitty. I'm not talking about drugs. I'm talking about the soda because in context that sounds like drugs right there.
I haven't had pop in about 25,
I walked had
26
expired
years.
Powerade. It was perfectly fine. People have
Powerade, I could. Well, yeah, but Powerade, it doesn't rely on keeping the fizzies, you know.
No, a month probably is pushing it, but like a week after the expiration date, you're fine. Diet drinks are the one thing that you got to worry about. I will say, working for Coke, like diet drinks are the one thing. Like if it's expired,
Yeah,
you
the
probably
aspartame.
yeah,
All the cancer causing ingredients in there.
Thanks for attaching that to there to my
Great.
job.
It's
there.
the
Thank you.
aspartame, man.
Well, quickly,
Aspartame.
let's pass it.
It's not a
to
Coke
the,
thing. That's all over the place.
Joe's
We'll
talking
pass-
here, Nathan.
Oh yeah,
we'll
sorry.
pass it to the chat. If you guys do have any questions for us, whether it's from the comics, cartoon, masters, any other thing, hit it right here. And quickly, we had somebody new watching. Said, his name is Mobile Recluse. Good morning from the Philippines. I've been watching your episodes and really
Damn.
enjoy your stream.
Awesome.
I
Well,
appreciate
thank you very
it.
much. Appreciate you staying up to check us out. We've been so thankful for new subscribers, new listeners taking time to leave us feedback. We appreciate everybody.
Keep doing it.
Keep
it up.
doing it. We feed on that. It lets us know, hey, you like what we're doing. We'll continue to keep doing it. So
Even if it's your opinions on soup.
Yeah.
Let us have it in the comments, man. I don't
leave
give a
something
shit.
there, or you want to reassure me that you think Ninja is great, or you just really discovered how awesome Azrock and Spider are. Leave it in the feedback, comments and below, and we always respond. We're not above that. Unless you say something stupid, then I think none of us are going to respond to that. But
There you go. And Mobile, if
It
you haven't
depends on what it
subscribed or anything, make sure you subscribe, share, ring that
Yeah.
bell. Make sure you pop in here so you can always catch us. But well, we'll wait to see. Let's see. Question from Gavin the Nerd. Question for the three studs. Oh, wow. That's more directors. Wait, more directors on how they
More
would
directors.
do a Masters movie. Just listing ones that pop in my head. David
Is this the same?
Cronenberg.
We had the same question last week.
No, but it's different. It's a new set of directors. I'm interested in this.
David Cronenberg, Robert Zemeckis, Russell Mulcahy, maybe, I don't know, and Richard Donner.
From Highlander.
That'd be different.
From Highlander, the guy that directed that did Highlander.
Okay. What you guys'
That's a
thoughts
better
on
selection of directors, though. I can't see Cronenberg signing on to do something like this, though. Like as good a director as he is, I can't see him.
And it would be weird. He would be weird. He'd be really weird with it.
Yeah, and not just with the villains. Like he would make everything. So plus I can't even see him agreeing to doing it. But Donner and Zemeckis, I have a better chance of agreeing that they would do it. I think Donner.
I think they would have. Sorry, they would have been really good. They would have been good choices in the '80s, I would think. Riding those highs from those movies that they made, and how they would kind of ground the fantasy just a tad, but not like it would show enough. I think they would have did okay with it.
I think both of them could. I mean, obviously, like all the great directors too. Once they've gotten into the late '90s and 2000s, they've all to each his own though. Like everyone likes what you like, but I can't say their credentials have maintained consistently. As up to this point. Not that they're all directing right now, but Donner hasn't done like a really great film in a long time, and Zemeckis' stuff is. I don't. I think he's always still linked to like Back to the Future. Like people just go back to the future, like which is fine. But I think back in the '80s or even early '90s, I would have trusted either one of them with directing a He-Man movie because I don't think they would have gone in and taken liberties and change this up, change that up. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Donner.
I mean, if it hadn't had been for Canon, I think if another bigger studio would have
and they had mentioned that Universal came close to signing a deal about it, and then when Canon comes in and undercuts that, like that's why they go with that. So
because you think about it, it's like, oh, you can do this for X amount of money and we don't have to spend as much.
Yeah.
I think everybody would have gotten the movie that they really wanted to have back then if Universal would have taking it up. I mean, that's just a given.
I think back then, absolutely. Yeah. And I don't know who they would have gotten back then. Zemeckis had worked with Universal at that time, but it could have been anybody. They could have gotten Donner. They could have gotten, who the hell knows? But I think it does make you wonder. But yeah, there's some good choices there. So Zemeckis or Donner.
Okay. Me, I have no fucking thing to say about it. I just don't know. I'm just like I said, I'm an idiot. Let's go
Joe,
Adam Gabbert.
You're not an.
How did the statue figures for Masters feel holding in your hand? Really heavy, Adam. Yeah, some are extremely
not
heavy.
Like made out of metal, but they were thick plastic that you felt like
even Mosquito or
skinny.
Yeah, even as skinny as he is, he's got some weight. But yeah, when you're holding somebody like Clawful, Tongue Glass, you're gonna feel it. You can throw it at somebody, probably knock them out.
They were just mass, but just glorious.
Oh goddamn, you're right. Rebecca Cox has a question. Who are some of your favorite? Check this out. Who are some of your favorite obscure Masters characters? And she gave examples like Goatman, Shazar, Fangman, Koldar. It's like, well, damn, this shows. I mean, you got some range there.
This podcast here, she ought to know better than that.
Good Lord, but I mean, this is amazing. Like I said, it shows she's got a hell of a
I'm gonna bust her chops whenever I talk to her.
Hopefully,
she's naming soon.
Don't that be something? We got to get a fan like this on the show. But she's naming characters that some people would not even fucking know. Like when you say Shazar, it's like some people are like, who in the hell is that? And for her to know her from the Brazilian comics, that's some goddamn fandom right there, Rebecca. So shit. I mean, yeah, there's a lot.
Goatman's a favorite among us, of course. Azrog and Spydra. I'm still going to champion those two to the day I die.
For me, I've always loved Chakotay just because, goddamn, she scared the hell out of me, but she's sexier than hell.
Chakotay and Mask, yeah. Because I still like to remind people, like, Chakotay reminds me of, like, the Fright Night and the Howling 2 VHS covers. The Howling 2 with the pretty one with the big red lips and the fangs, like that always made me think of Chakotay.
It's got Red Brown in that movie, man. Red Brown and Howling 2, fuck yeah.
I love both Garns. Both Garns are amazing. I love both.
Yeah, I do too.
Icer, Geldor.
We got to get
That's
fans
another
like this on the show.
Prince Dacon, like
Mm-hmm.
just his visual design. Like Larry Houston, man, looked like such a like. I would love to him. For him
Everybody
to
in
been
that
like a regular
comic was
cast member.
damn amazing. That's what everybody
Yeah.
he created in that comic.
Nepthu.
Who? What? Neptune? Jesus Christ. Okay.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Thank you for that
Scott
question,
not liking his
Rebecca.
bullshit. Hey, man, I saw in my recommended videos like Scott Knowledge, like a beginner's guide to master the universe. Oh my god! Like what the hell?
You know what pops up in the recommended videos on this channel when I log in? Kevin Smith live streams. That's what pops up for me.
Let's get to another question. I don't want to get sick. Johnny Cox says, "Oh, can Joe do the rest of the episode in his kitty voice?" No, maybe towards the end, Johnny. That hurt my voice the whole way through. Zentron hasn't done this in a while, but a movie quote for Tyler.
Oh,
it's not time bands again, is it?
That's right. Smart man. I like doing business with smart men. They know never to screw with me. I don't know.
I don't know.
I feel like I've heard that. I feel like I've heard that before. That sounds very familiar.
All right. Well, we'll see towards when I scroll to the end. Grimbot had to jump in just to remind everybody that Richard Donner
where is Grim? Hasn't been in the chat giving everybody shit or correcting us all episode.
Are
you sick or something?
Going on? Well, we're not good enough for him no more. He looks at other live streamers now to look at their stuff, and it's like hands of power. So.
Oh, okay.
Well, you knows there's really nothing he could do with us because we are the cream of the crop. So he's going to go after others.
There you go. See, there you go. But
yeah.
Let me see. Febmon question. What about a slime pit monster figure made with parts from Buzz-Off, He-Man, and Beastman that could be rearranged like Modulok? Do you think that would work?
No. I'm sorry. No.
Is this wait, is it a joke? Am I missing something? Is this meaning something?
Either that or just the hypothetical that all of those guys at one point or another, be it box art or were used in the slime pit.
I get what you're doing, but I don't want to see like a figure of that or any.
I mean, I know it's not the best idea, but what if the slime pit was used as sort of a way of once someone was there and the slime was dropped in it, that like the DNA that mixed with the slime.
All right, now you're starting to sound like Nightlick here.
Could be used to formulate and create like some sort of monstrosity.
Is Nightlick reading shit into your ear right now?
Nah, hey man, I great minds think alike, right?
Oh my god! Next thing you know, you'll be guest starring on our respective creative YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, someone passed that idea along to him so we can get it in a comic book or something. That way, I can be like, that was my idea.
I want the end of his bullshit crossover.
I want my Joe Amato moment, goddammit. That's what I want.
Yeah, you'll probably get credit.
Put that idea in a book so I can be like, I gave him that. And
well, like I said, you get credit, unlike me.
Empty-handed in any kind of like actual published contribution, anything to He-Man.
It'll happen. Don't worry.
That would be hilarious. Imagine that they take that idea.
Honestly, if that's what if Nathan got published for that, I'm like, you know what? I don't give two shits. If that's what they're after, fuck them. I'm like, I wouldn't give my ideas for free, even for a great paycheck. If this is what you're gonna go with, I don't want your money.
Oh man, please, somebody use that.
Let's get to Johnny Cox's question. His question, I wish he wouldn't have brought off because it's going to sound annoying to you guys, but I'll give you my answer. Right. Any toys that you lost, key accessories that you didn't realize you wanted to play with them after that? He says, I lost New Adventures of He-Man sword on the first day. I got him on weekend vacation. Well, Johnny, what's weird is there's only one figure I've ever lost an accessory for besides my Beastman when I was a kid that I wrapped around like a little tree branch when I was on vacation and lost, but I never wanted to stop playing with them. But Tiffany from Bride of Chucky, was that her name, Tiffany, if I'm not mistaken?
Mm-hmm.
She came with a little cigarette, and it was so fucking small.
I still had that cigarette for the longest time, too, with my
let me just say, for some reason, one day I looked, it just wasn't there. I was like, what in the fuck? I was like, is it lost in the carpet, the crack?
I have Tiffany on my shelf.
Oh, of course you do. But I lost Tiffany's cigarette from that 2-pack, and that pissed me off so much because I was like, I have something incomplete. It still drives me nuts.
She's packed away.
Yeah.
She's in a tote somewhere because I'm like, Bride of Chucky kind of sucks.
Well, he brought up a bad memory.
I don't want to see that movie again.
Yeah, I'm pissed I lost her cigarette, but I don't know about you guys, but I lost that.
I lost He-Man's accessories and Skeletor's accessories the first day when I got home. Like those are the first two figures I bought, and I lost all the accessories when I got back to my mom and papa's house. My entire childhood. Well, I take that back. I didn't lose Skeletor's Havoc staff, but the Power Sword, the axe, and the shield, I have no idea what happened to them when I got. I remember looking for them that day, like flipping open the couch cushions, looking for them. No one could find them. So it's just. I had to use Fisto's sword for He-Man's Power Sword, and just said it was the movie sword because it was like a longer broadsword. I know. It was pretty devastating.
Nathan,
but I did hold on.
I doubt Nathan
Power Sword for a while though.
Oh, probably Nathan has never lost anything. I don't
honestly,
no,
ain't no joke on that one.
But well, here's what I would do as a kid, which is why I think because I need to go through them all. Because I recently got all the G.I. Joes from my childhood from my parents, and I had a separate little. It's like a ammo box, like the old school, like the metal ammo boxes that would open and close. My dad painted that and put. He drew snake eyes, and
it's a cool box. I've seen it. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
So I would put all my accessories in that, and I always made it a thing of I would. Either if it was an old shoebox or even if we just got sandwich bags or whatever, I would put the accessories in those because the figures were the most important part for me during playtime. Like, yeah, I would have accessories, but when I was done with them, I would put them all back together in like these plastic bags or take those bags and put them in like a shoebox, which is why I still have a decent chunk, I think. I need to dig through that too of like my Turtles accessories because I knew how easy those would be to lose based off of how small they were. Even as a kid, I'm like, I got to keep track of this shit. So I did that. I think the only thing for me is just the biggest regret of the only figure I ever traded away to anybody, which was a Jinx from G.I. Joe. My neighbor kid had a figure and he was like, oh hey, how about this for Jinx? And I was like, yeah, sure, okay. And then I instantly regretted it, so much so, and I still have this down there with the accessories because I have all the file cards and everything like organized in a little container too. That Hasbro back then, on the back of G.I. Joe's you could cut out little flag points, and you could, once you obtained enough, there would be little catalogs that came with the figures that would have
love those catalogs too.
Yeah, and if you had enough flag points, you could get those. And Jinx and Quick Kick happened to be together in a set that you could get, and I was like, oh, we got to do this. So in there, my dad had filled out my name, our address at the time. The flag points are still in that little tiny envelope, and we never mailed it away. So I actually bought a Jinx on eBay the other day because I'm like, it's been too long. I need to get that figure back. And I'm going to display all my G.I. Joes. And Joe, I'll make sure I take a picture of that and send it to you because I know G.I. Joe is one of your other favorite properties from the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Goddamn G.I. Joe.
You need to watch it. You need to you would like it. You really would. Give it a chance.
Hey, all right. See, Joe. See, I eventually did watch Dungeons and Dragons and loved it. So I should watch it. Us. At least we would not tell you to sit and binge watch like a certain episode that me and Nathan both like. The Traitor. If you watch The Traitor, which is by far probably the best, if not one of the best episodes of the entire series, which is it'll speak for itself. But that's the one. If you were gonna, and it's on YouTube to watch for free. If you were to okay, I will humor you guys and watch G.I. Joe. That's the episode. And people in the chat room, can anyone disagree? There's some good episodes, but I think The Traitor, if we're gonna get Joe to actually sit down and devote 20 minutes of his time, Traitor's 2 parts. If Joe's hooked on the first part, he'll maybe be willing to watch the second part. But that's my suggestion.
Would you say I should at least watch the first episode? Does it get me familiar with the characters or anything?
And honestly, there is no actual introduction. It just takes right off you are right into the story. It's Cobra.
You're
they're
in the
already
shit,
here.
Man. You're in the shit, just like Real War.
Sometimes they'll introduce one character, but the Traitor, everything's already established. You're not missing anything. Because I watched the episodes, they're all out of order. There's not a whole lot of continuity. Sometimes there is occasionally, but for the most part, you could just jump right in, and you don't really feel like you're left out. And then the next episode, you see another group with a couple of familiar characters. But The Traitor itself, it's a self-contained story. it's more of an adult themed story in terms of like what it's talking about. So
Okay. All right. Yeah.
And, and Bionic 6, Joe, you should give that a watch because
absolutely.
if you click the link down below, Joe's got a villain from Bionic 6 called Glove, and he's put him on a
Yes,
t-shirt.
people, yes. Joe has been so gracious and given the Bionic 6 its due in an actual, beautifully illustrated version of Glove. You know, the backstab, the Starscream, if you will, archetype of the Bionic 6, who's looking to constantly undermine and overtake Scarab and his crew. Joe has graciously put him together from the style guide that I have and made him look phenomenal. Like, I can't wait to have it in person because Joe's telling me that the picture on TeePublic doesn't do it justice. So if you're interested in Bionic 6 or you are very familiar with it and you want to own something, go to TeePublic and get you this wonderfully designed illustration of Glove in all of his badass glory. I want to thank Joe again. I've thanked him so much, but I want to thank him personally live on here for taking time for me. And I'm so gracious because Bionic 6 is so underappreciated, underutilized, and Joe knocked it right out of the park. I mean, it's like smashing through, a brick wall because you couldn't stop this shit from being as badass as it is, thanks to Joe.
There we go.
I appreciate that.
I got it up on the screen right now, so you guys can get an idea of, if you're not familiar, what the character looks like, what Joe's done with having that logo in the background, having the name below. It's very well done, Joe.
Yes.
You need to do that with everybody else, and it's something that I feel like, given how under the radar Bionic 6 is, that would be something that you could just leave up and not have to worry about.
Because some of the other names, like one of them is named Mechanic. Like, that's a very generic name. It's not a... It sounds like, some of the other Bionic 6 names, I think if we talk Joe into doing more of these, which would be great, but that's at his time and at his...
Yeah, that's what I figured. They were,
convenience.
like you said, especially a couple of them, the names are so generic, I couldn't picture them being trademarked, having an issue. And to play safe, that's why I hid the logo in back of them, had him
But
his
it was
foot
good
covering.
that you did that because if you're a fan of Bionic 6, you know what that logo is. You don't need to see it directly, And
Right.
you could always draw the Scarab logo too, because the villains have a logo on their chest that's kind of used as like their own emblem too. But honestly, for this, for all the characters, it plays it safe and just putting them over the Bionic 6 logo. And I love what you did there. I want people to check this out. Yeah.
Yeah, because you gave me a reference photo, and I really didn't, I didn't know all of his color schemes, so he gave me pictures of stuff to do. So I, like I said, redrew, altered some of the pose up, gave the colors, even had him standing slightly over his name. And the name is inspired by the card back art of how it has that kind of yellow oblong with the red name in it. So, yeah, it was kind of combining cartoon and toy packaging elements to create it. But, yeah, it was fun to work on, and I had a blast working on it for you, though.
What's your take on it? Like, I know you know nothing of the show or that character, but looking at him directly, like what?
Oh, he looks badass. He does look badass. It's like I'm curious to see. Well, honestly, what the fuck he does with his glove? I don't even know the abilities, things that it can be done. Is it just a big fisto type thing, or does it actually do shit? I know nothing about.
He blasts out of his gun. I mean, he's a smart villain too. Like, yeah, he's an intelligent villain. I mean, and there is an origin. It's not the most in-depth origin, but there is an origin called Bionics on the First Adventure. It's not the very first episode. It's kind of a few episodes in, but it is on YouTube to watch, and it shows how Scarab's crew becomes who they are, how the Bennett family becomes the Bionic 6. So if you it's on YouTube to watch. So if you just kind of want, I'm not going to sit there and pretend like it's the greatest origin story, at least for the Scarab's crew, but it's pretty simplistic, but it still works because let's just get going here. But
there's a lot I have to watch. Definitely a lot of things.
Yeah, well, there is. But it would be cool if we have a small segment on upcoming podcasts here and there. Like, so Joe, did you watch G.I. Joe this week? Did you watch an episode of Bionic 6 this week or something?
It'll be like me getting that fucking book.
I won't lie to you guys.
I'll do it this week.
You link me, and I will watch it this week. I promise.
Uh-huh. All right. All right. We're going to take your word for it, and we'll get a review from you next week.
There you go. And you got to let me know if I'm saying your name correct. Paris or Porrick Boylan, he popped up during our magazine episode, and I think he was here for a previous episode. He just said, well, Joe's favorite show is Wheeled Warriors because that Jace, I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is. It never interested me seeing that in that magazine.
Honestly, see, I've never watched Jason the Wheeled Warriors either. Like,
I just don't.
If it wasn't for like Val mentioning how awesome the intro was on an old episode of Roast Google, I never would have even known what it was. So I looked it up. I'm like, well, the intro is pretty badass, and the song's awesome too. But I've never been interested because I'm not a car guy. You know, Mask is cool, but I'm not interested in a show that's more based on these kind of, you know, futuristic kind of.
There was the promotion in that magazine that actually turned me off. I was like, I've seen so much of that shit. I was like, this is fucking taking over my He-Man magazine. I don't want this shit in here. So I just had a unfortunate negative bias towards it just from the promotion. I was like, get the fuck out. There's too many pages. But well, that's Rebecca Cox. She said I did a great job on that shirt design. So thanks, Rebecca. I appreciate it.
That's awesome. I'm curious. Are you a fan of Bionic 6, Rebecca, by chance?
We're going to find that out here in a second. We got another question from Gavin the Nerd. And this isn't a dumb question, but Gavin Nerd says, I'll throw in one more dumb question. If you were hired to... But it's not a dumb question. He says, if you were hired to write a comic... Yeah, he said it, but the thing is, it's good. He said, if you were hired to write a comic that told the origin of any Masters character, who would it be? For me, honestly...
I got mine.
Okay, hold on. First, let me say mine. I would like to see Ninjor because the thing is, he's brought to Eternia. But I'd love to see where he came from. Maybe what his fucking whole background, origin story, his other planet that he came from, his clan. Who was he? Maybe he led the whole fucking clan. You don't know, but Ninjor is so mysterious. And it's what we've said before. Tyler said and I said, I hate the thought of when people say, it's just a ninja. What's a ninja doing on Eternia? It's like, what's anything doing on Eternia? It's a world of fucking fantasy, and he's not a normal ninja. He's even got clawed feet, so he's not even a human. He wasn't brought from Earth. So a background for him, I think it'd be really intriguing.
I'll go last. Tyler, go ahead.
I mean, there's a bunch. I could do a shitload of origins, but one I've had for a long time was an origin for Clamp Champ, and my idea for that was that he was a gladiator, like so far off, like not he's not aware of like He-Man. None of these guys know who this guy is, but he's, you know, raised in the arena and builds up a reputation and gets the name Clamp Champ for his grip on his opponents. Like when he like wraps his biceps around someone and chokes them out or puts them to sleep or makes them submit or whatever, the minute that grip is on, forearm grip, arm, or whatever, you're not getting out of it. Like Clamp Champ, the minute he clamps onto you, it's done. Like, I just thought like that's how he got his name. I'm not going to give him, his real name is Gary from Indiana or some shit like that, you know. None of that from the House of Bullshit.
Which is how that city got its name.
I'm sure Scott came up with that too.
Yeah.
But I would not. It's more about like honoring that name and giving credence to the character, that he's beyond just his power pencil. Like, it's just an extension of his strength. That like if the weapon attaches onto you, it's like, you know, it's just as strong as his grip is. You know, it's a master of hand-to-hand combat. That was just an idea that I had for the character a long time. That's the first one that comes to mind.
All right. So hear me out on this. So there's this vial of slime.
Oh shit!
that Skeletor. Hang on. That Skeletor has obtained that holds the DNA of Buzz-Off, He-Man, and Beast-Man to create the biggest threat to Eternia that has ever existed. Coagular.
God, I feel a hate crime coming on.
Okay, Rebecca Cox said she's only seen like a few of the episodes. She's never watched the entire show or series.
That's okay. And I don't expect most people to have, but you need to be at least familiar with how awesome the villains are, how awesome the heroes are, their outfits, the visual designs. You know, it's all. Well, that's what I'm on here to do, is to raise awareness for this series and how awesome it is. I'm trying to talk Nathan into buying the action figures, because I've love to get the Nathan still. I've actually got glove.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that the other day. I was like, oh yeah, Tyler said he was going to give me a figure.
Don't get him started. He'll have a whole nother series to collect and everything.
I have this. I was going to give him a Turbo from GoBots that I had an extra of too. So I was going to give Nathan the Startle GoBots and Bionic 6.
He'll have everything.
Because that's the kind of asshole I am, people.
And actually, the Bionic 6 figures aren't too ridiculous.
Some are.
Priced on eBay. Some
Well,
are.
it depends.
But
If you want them with no weapons, you're going to get a better deal with that. If you want weapons, which they don't use weapons in the show. The villains do, but the heroes don't.
Yeah, I would be okay with just having. Well, actually, I mean, I do have.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
No, I do have one figure from Bionic.
Yeah,
6.
Fluffy. Yeah, Fluffy the robot.
Fluffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first one I got when because I only had Scarab as a kid, but I got Fluffy at a flea market for like $10.
I don't have any of that stuff, but I'll watch some of the
Well,
episodes.
see, Joe, we got to get you hooked on it. Maybe
I'm gonna start watching. I promise. I'm not a liar most of the time. Zentron said the movie quote was from National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1 with William. That was William Shatner's character. I couldn't quote that.
I haven't seen that movie in so many years. And
there
are only moments I remember that I enjoy. Other than that,
I like when Samuel Jackson was shaking when he was, go shoot him. He's already shaking with the gun. Remember that part with Samuel?
No,
that was with.
No, I just said I don't remember much about it other than a few
there's
scenes,
this part.
Hot Shots is better.
Well, yeah, it's good, but yeah, Emilio Estevez is telling the character of Samuel Jackson to shoot him because he hasn't like shot a gun in a while, and he starts shaking like crazy. It's so fucking stupid but hilarious. You'll have to see. And one more question from Papa Huds 69 to wrap up the show is, he said, if Masters and Princess of Power were to switch places back in the day, do you think She-Ra would have had the same success as He-Man?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, as long as the stories are well written and it makes sense, then I don't see how anything can fail. Even, I'm sure one could argue, it's a female lead trying to.
But there was a lot of female cartoons back then.
Exactly.
Like
but that's where I feel like if the toy line is more pink and looks more like a Barbie line, that's a lot of the success. That's why I kind of feel like to go backwards, though, the cartoon would have to go way above and beyond and introduce He-Man. You know, I think She-Ra could have been more successful if it didn't look like a girl's toy line, though. Because that's what kept me from buying it as a kid, because I felt like I was buying Barbie dolls. Not because of the figures, but because it looked like a girl's toy.
Yeah.
You know, it was all pink, and you got the combs and the rooted hair and all that stuff.
So if they would have made those figures look more like the Masters line, you definitely would have been into it as a kid, for sure.
I remember staring them down in Toys R Us in Roanoke and was afraid to even because they looked like girl toys. Like, I thought, I'm afraid to buy that because it's a girl toy.
Which was the whole purpose behind it anyway, is they wanted that for girls to feel more included. But we also had that discussion.
He-Man, though. Like, to make a toy that was not more neutral-centric, like, yeah, it's She-Ra, but you get Cats of Spell and Frosta and a Shadow Weaver that looks like boys could feel comfortable buying it too, much like they felt comfortable buying Teela and Evelyn. I bought Evelyn at Hills. I didn't question about that because it was a girl, because it's a He-Man toy.
Right.
So I would have bought She-Ra more comfortably if it didn't look like a Barbie toy.
And this would be a stupid question, but did they put the She-Ra toys in the Barbie aisle itself, or were they?
Say when I saw them at Toys R Us, at the one we went to, it was at the front of the store. Like when we first walked in. There was this big front display of She-Ra toys that was accessible with my eye. So I walked right there and just would look at them. But then all the male action figures were in the back side of the store.
Yeah, they were separated. Because a lot of people forget that even before She-Ra, remember, there was the Golden Girl line by Galoob. And that, I think,
those look awesome, by the way.
They do. And they do. They look great. And they're the same concept of, comb and hair, accessories, everything. The packaging was, not as well. I don't even think it was as pink. It was pink, but it just seemed like
it didn't feel as girly. I'll just be frank about it.
There was something, just something different about it. But unfortunately, that line didn't succeed. I think it was like only on 84 and 85, maybe. I could be wrong. But then She-Ra came afterwards, and they were all in the same section. I knew they were, and I think Barbie might have been right around the corner, at least from some of the Toys R Us I was at. In fact, I think there's a video you could catch on YouTube, which it showed. You remember how you could win a shopping spree like Toys R Us or some of those things? Mm-hmm. Win a 5-minute toy spree or shopping spree, and they showed this one person. I remember, you can find it on YouTube. Starting the video with the shopping cart, standing right there, and right next to this person was all these fucking min-on-card He-Man figures. I was like, holy fuck, if that was me, I would have unloaded the shelf into the cart. And this person just ran past it. I was like, oh, this must have been maybe towards the end of the, the craze for Masters.
He tripped and fell on his face and,
it kills me every time I watch it, because I think there was 3 different people. I think they had two boys and 1 girl, and all of them started there and ran past it, and son of a bitch, but you can catch that shit on YouTube. But it is an interesting thought if like which one came first, if the other came first, how things would have spawned. I don't know, but
Well, but I do feel like that because She-Ra spawned because the girls were watching He-Man. But I do feel like why did they go full on girl? Like if the boys and girls are all coming together and watching this one idea, why wouldn't you capitalize on it? Yeah, do a show where the female is the lead because the show doesn't feel very girl centric. Like I never felt uncomfortable going and renting She-Ra or watching She-Ra at all. But the toys kept me from because it looked like they went too far in getting girls' attention. If the girls were into He-Man, why couldn't they just maintain that? Put gold on there, instead of pink. I felt like there's other colors they could have went with that would have I'd have bought every one of them, or been more comfortable buying whatever I had access. I had a She-Ra coloring book that I got from Kmart. Didn't bother me at all
Well,
because it didn't look super girly.
I put up the Golden Girl packaging on there. Tyler, I sent it to you as well. Would you have purchased this? Because I think this just hits way harder.
That look well. I mean, plus that looks a lot more accessible. That I would have felt more comfortable buying this. I mean, because she looks hot, and it looks it looks like more Conan based. It doesn't look like a girl riding a swan and her hair's flowing in the wind. Like that's where I'm like, where did they lose? I'm not trashing it, but I guess this question has me thinking like. All the advertising for She-Ra was very light and fluffy and cotton candy. There was no action in any of the She-Ra book covers, the merchandise. It was
and you look at that, look at Golden Girls, like you said.
I'm looking at it right here, and people are saying that looks very heroic. That looks
does
like
has a sword and sorcery
box art,
and it does because this has a sword and sorcery. Barbaric feel. It looks intense, and then when we got She-Ra's, it was just kind of more happy. She's looking right at you while she's on Swiftwind with kind of a smile. And the thing is, since Golden Girls line only lasted a year, you wonder if they thought, oh god, maybe the girls they aren't into this fantasy shit. Maybe we should make it a little more lighthearted. Which that's sad because I think, damn, that looks fucking awesome. You think girls and boys would be buying Golden Girl like crazy? Yeah, they went from one direction to another, and it just seemed like, I guess, well, it's a hit.
It's almost like they really felt like they were more after the kids that play with Barbie, as opposed to the girls that were watching He-Man. Let's go after that fan base instead. Let's just go after what
same company, same company.
Which they weren't, And when you watch that Power of Grayskull, that they're pretty much saying, oh, people didn't want it to succeed, or oh, well, He-Man failed because they brought She-Ra. Like, I don't what kind of bullshit excuse they're coming up with, but. That's what kept me personally. I don't know if other guys felt that way. I don't we'd have to ask Rebecca. She's into this stuff.
Well, right here, Rebecca said she loved the Golden Girl toy line. She said the detail on the Golden Girl figures are amazing. They look badass. And I tell you, somebody like Rebecca, we're going to have to get somebody like her on the show maybe next week. Maybe we'll have to do that. Hey, in fact, Rebecca, would you like to come on Fans of Power next week? Wouldn't this be interesting to have your perspective, a female perspective, when it comes to Master Universe, Princess of Power, Sword and Sorcery, Barbarian movies, all things 80s? That's what I said.
And Red Sonja.
Barbarian-type movies, all things 80s. We're going to have Rebecca Cox on next week. So how about that, everybody? That's our guest for next week. So this is somebody with some goddamn taste right here.
Rebecca, I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to watch, I bet Joe's ass cheeks just clenched real hard. I'm going to watch Red Sonja.
His asshole's puckered right now.
Yeah, I'm going to watch Red Sonja in preparation just for you because I haven't watched that movie in a long time, so I think I'm doing a rewatch.
I love it, man. And then we had to get her and Michael on, and we do one big, crossover of Red Sonja 1985 appreciation episode. We're just we're all crossing over to celebrate this underappreciated badass, and where heads are being cut off left and right. It's a great score. It's awesome. So
that's right. It's gonna be
madness. If you don't like it, I don't give a shit.
And Minnie Tower just joined us, and we're just getting ready to leave. But thank you for popping in. If you haven't subscribed, let me just say something, Minnie Tower, to you. If you're new to this channel, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell so you can always be notified when we do go live. And until next time, have a powerful day.
Something about a shark. He's got lifeless eyes, black eyes like a doll's eyes. When he comes at you, he doesn't seem to be living till he bites you, and those eyes roll over white, and then you hear that terrible high-pitched screaming. The ocean turns red, despite all the hollering, the pounding, the screaming. They all come in and Rip you to pieces.
Jesus Christ! Well, this must be a Jaws movie.
That's Jaws.
No, it's Time Bandits.
That's like I would have never got it unless you went in depth and we talk about in the water. Because I was like,
I'm like,
you know, Terry Gilliam probably would have made a decent Master Universe movie back in the 80s, I would think. Maybe. If he kept, he was a lot more humor based. If he would have taken, if he didn't write it and took most of that out.
I know people like the haha, like our friend Lacey Dean likes all the silly haha Marvel bullshit. And yeah, I'm calling you out for that.
But
I don't want humor associated with He-Man at all. Like, I'm not saying you can have moments. Some of my favorite movies, Jaws has a couple of humorous moments. Predator has a couple of humorous moments. The tone, though, is not humorous. I want humor nowhere near He-Man, period.
I watched Falcon and Winter Soldier. I think I got like 2 more episodes in it. It's okay.
I watched the first episode. It was okay, but it wasn't enough to keep me going back to it.
But that's where that is now. But it was good. Like, it's not bad.
The tone surprised me. It was like, wow, they're not cutting jokes and being silly and like poking each other. Like, it was actually a serious story.
Yeah, the whole aspect of Kurt Russell's kid taking over the shield and everything, and how shitty he is and how he reacts to everything. Like, it works in the context of the story. I still got a couple more episodes, and I'm like, all right, well, now that the hype has finally died down on all that stuff, that's when I've kind of gone back, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll watch this in the context of not everybody shitting their pants over it and arguing about it on the internet. And it's fine. It's not terrible. It didn't blow me away, but it was entertaining enough for what it was. The episodes go fast. I'm like, oh wow, that was a quick 49 minutes or 59 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If more stuff was like that, then I'd be more like. I mean, like I said, it wasn't enough to keep me going with it. But I'm like, I appreciate that this was not like let's wink at the camera every 5 minutes with another. Yeah. Like that's what I want, and we don't get enough of that. And maybe Black Widow's like that, but I'm not interested in seeing it. So
yeah, I'll wait.
Or Shang-Chi, which should have been awesome looking, but it's not.
I haven't watched a trailer or anything for that.
Oh my god, I'm like,
I'll watch both of them, but that'll be once they're on Disney Plus after the. I'm not doing that instant premiere because I think on there $30 is way too much to pay for a premium rental. I think 20 or 25 is a snugger price point, but
I'd only pay that for the new Batman film, but we're going to get that in theaters, so there's nothing on the horizon I'm going to pay that kind of money.
Isn't that also, well, I guess where that got pushed back, that doesn't fall into that deal with the HBO Max streaming it anymore.
No, they said too that Warner Bros. Was going to make sure that was going to have a theatrical release, so that's when I will see that.
Yeah, hopefully that won't suck, but if it sucks, then whatever.
Then I'm like, okay, then I've lost all hope. And
we're boring Joe again.
I'm going to have to live in the past.
I like how you basically did most of that monologue from Jaws, so kudos to you, sir.
Who said that? Are you saying that, or I'm lost? Like, who are you saying that you appreciated my monologue that I did?
Yeah, I appreciated your monologue for your movie.
Oh, thank you.
This week. Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, I just I watched Jaws not too long ago, but I can quote that movie left and right, and I know Joe was just
That's you put Jaws up there with like Die Hard and Predator and shit like that are movies that, for me, I would label as the perfect movie. I feel like that can be accessible to most anybody. I think someone would pull something positive out of it, even if they weren't completely blown away. And those were the movies that just had the proper pacing and just felt like they knew what they were doing. And maybe that was just a time when movie making magic felt more exciting than what it did, because they actually had to think. We can't just put this shark in a computer and make it happen. We actually have to figure out, all right, we'll accentuate the negatives, or the positives, sorry, and hide the negatives.
Hide the negatives, yeah.
I got that backwards. But to think that we have to make this mechanical shark. Well, we got to put it in the water. We got to figure this out. We don't get that anymore. Just put it in a computer. Photoshop the poster. Talking heads, bunch of photoshopped heads on the posters. It's so lazy.
All shark
Step it up.
They all suck balls. They're all terrible. They look cheap. They're lame. Yep. You don't care about, and that's the thing about this movie. You care about all three leads in the film, even though they don't finally come together till well over an hour into the film. But it's you buy into everything. Like, you get lost in Quint's Indianapolis speech. Every time I watch it, you just get lost in painting the images of people lost at sea, people being bitten in half and finding out your buddy that, hey, Nathan, how you doing? Like, he's bitten in half. I'm like, oh my God, like, am I going to be next?
Yeah.
Joe's over there eating rotten potatoes and, trying not, because he's going to hog all the food if there's any rations in the water. But in all seriousness, like, I get lost in Roy Scheider's performance and in Jaws too. He does such a damn good job in that film of like delivering, like, people don't believe me or they treat me like shit. But people wonder why I'm such a picky guy. I'm spoiled by greatness. I'm spoiled by Predator. I'm spoiled by Alien and Aliens. I'm spoiled by Jaws. I'm spoiled by Batman 1989. I'm spoiled by Ghostbusters.
Good Indiana Jones movies.
Yeah, I'm spoiled by all 3 Indiana Jones films. I expect nothing less, and I will not settle. If people like other things that I don't like, there's nothing wrong with that. But people like to look at me like I'm such a picky person. Like, then blame the things I was exposed to, because I see nothing but badass and greatness in those films. And it's just a small Karate Kid. The Rocky films, well, not 5.
Goonies.
5. Goonies,
And
Willow,
that's like
RoboCop.
It's like all over the place, like genre-wise. Like, I guess
Star,
just
Wizard
because...
of Oz, I still hold the Wizard of Oz as like the quintessential perfect film that anybody of every age, every ethnicity, every whether you're a senior citizen or 5 years old, no matter what your orientation is, everybody can read. Wizard of Oz is by far one, if not the greatest film ever made, from like a general standpoint. Not in my it's in my top films, of course, but I just think that's a film that transcends above everybody. All three of us here can agree that Wizard of Oz is a wonderful film. Joe, am I wrong?
It's good.
He's never seen it.
No, it's good.
That's all I'm getting for you. It's good. Are you out of your mind?
But
help me out here.
It's just there was creativity and movie magic, and now everything is just so sterilized, and it's just sequels this and sequels that, and it's not even about the scripts anymore. It's just sequels. Like, fuck, man. I could go here right now. I will go here right now. And Joe, I know you're like, oh God, it's in the show. For fuck's sake, I gotta get out of here. But if you look at what is playing in theaters right now that they've opened back up, I gotta figure out zip codes as it loads up. All right, so we have The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard, which is a sequel to a movie that came out a couple years ago. Peter Rabbit 2, also another sequel, and the first one is also based off of a book. Spirit Untamed. How many Spirit movies have we had? The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It, which is technically like the third movie. It's just it's nothing but sequels.
Now, to counteract that, though, I think of the summer '89, which outside of Batman '89 was filled with sequels from Back to the Future. But I'm saying, like, you know what? At least those sequels were there was care and quality behind it. As we are aware, these films are fucking products now. They are cookie cutter products because everyone's playing it safe. The Marvel films are no different than the last one or from 5 years ago. There is nothing that separates them all or makes you feel like that was an impactful film. Same thing with the shitty DC films. There's nothing out there because they're all so. We got to get the teenagers, and even though they ain't gonna be watching the damn thing, because they're playing on their fucking phone the whole damn time. They ain't actually watching the film.
And the other thing with the sequels is they actually had time for it to breathe in between. Now it's like a movie comes out, if a sequel is greenlit, we're getting one 2 years after the first one came out. And that's not to say that all sequels are bad. I like the John Wick sequels. I'm going to go see part 4. But I'm just saying, like, we sacrificed all of the movie making magic and originality that we even got all the other shit in the 80s and the 70s and decades prior beforehand just for corporations to make like more money. Like it sacrificed the art of the film and the creativity of the film to just, well, you gotta pump another one out there. And I don't mind, and I know Tyler's gonna be like, oh my God, I don't mind the Fast and Furious movies past Fast 5, but here we are, the ninth fucking movie is about to come out. Think about that. Like,
I find horror movie sequels are more acceptable, even though I could give two shits about anything horror related out right now. But an action series that's not James Bond, that's in its 9th entry, I'm like, I don't know how they're doing and why people are going back to see those films. I have no idea.
Yeah. So come on, Hollywood. Let's get some fresh ideas. Let's get some new shit out there at least. So
Yeah, and don't use Kevin
even
Smith to
then, you
hype
can
your
make more
shit, you know?
sequels out of that. But let's just get some more new stuff.
I mean, I still believe like G.I. Joe, Transformers, Turtles, He-Man, all of them work as films. There's so many Dino Riders, Mask, Visionaries, Bionic 6, Brave Star. Everything could work if you actually cared,
Mm-hmm. I don't
But
know.
people don't have time to go back and see why people still cherish. We have no time to go back and watch because it's old and it's lame. All the animation is limited. All the stories are kind of hokey. Did you watch it? Well, no. I'm making a generalization because I read some dickheads comment on YouTube, so I'm just going to copy that like I do everything else there.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know.
I have no patience. I have no patience. It could be done, yes, but nobody
Yeah.
wants to do it.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe all the new ideas are gone. Everyone's already done.
Well, I think a lot of times they really are because it's more about
Sometimes,
owning
yeah.
properties, and then after they bomb this attempt at Spider-Man, well, we'll just come back and do another one. We'll do another one.
Yeah. Yeah. That was too much. That was not enough time in between our Sam
I was
Raimi
fine with it because I don't
Spider-Mans
like the Sam Raimi films, but I get why people were apprehensive about the Andrew Garfield films. I do. I understand that.
and then to
but
go from that to the Tom Holland in the MCU, it's like it's
that
too,
was pretty fast. Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, we'll spare Joe because I think he's about to either have an
Throw up.
aneurysm or something. He's in distress.
Someone get him a bucket.
Yeah.
See you guys next time.